Okay, so guys, welcome to. Do you know what? Oh my god, do you know what the worst part
What's
is?
this podcast?
I just realized we actually don't have a podcast name.
Welcome to.
A podcast of some
Welcome
kind.
to a podcast.
To be honest, it actually feels more like a morning show because I have actually got Milo up very early today,
Girl.
and this is my first coffee because I didn't have any milk this morning. So this is
She
like.
got me up at 8 and I was like, hold on, let me get a coffee. Let's try 8:30.
I was half asleep myself, to be fair, and I'm in my pajamas, so it kind of just feels like a breakfast show. So welcome to our morning radio breakfast show.
Yeah.
Why not?
Come on, Wendy Williams.
Anyway, that bitch. So I guess introductions are the best way to start this. So I'm Chelly. I am not very good at Super Smash Bros. Melee, but you'll find me at pretty much every tournament. My worst is 0-2. That's my most consistent result. My best result is probably 3-2 at SmashCon against a bunch of peaches. What's up? And I commentate, and I'm just an avid watcher of Melee, to be honest with you. Not the most technical, minded person in terms of the game, but I like to watch. So.
And she's a legendary streamer. She left that part out.
Stop. And then this is Milo. You take it away. You're the professional here.
I am Milo. I reside in close to Baltimore, Maryland, so MTVA is my region. I am the self-proclaimed hottest peach in MTVA, and others will attest to that. I've been in the Melee community. I mean, I played Smash my whole life, obviously, but I've been in the competitive Melee community since like 2015. And yeah, I'm not competing as seriously anymore due to like school and other reasons, but of course I love staying in the community, and I am thrilled to help Chelly out with this podcast. Thank you for having me.
No problem. It's crazy actually that we started pretty much the same time, because I didn't have the whole start, I didn't play Melee at all before I was 21. Period. I didn't even know what it was. But it's crazy that we started playing at the same time, and I have not a single knowable win on my belt, whereas you, on the other hand.
I have one. I mean, yeah, Royal Flush was my best showing, where I got 65th, and I beat Alex 19, but he did have Johns, and
they were pretty fair Johns.
They were pretty good Johns.
But a win is a win nonetheless. So
we take those, baby. We take those.
But yeah, I think the best thing, and the reason I think that we're two really good co-hosts for this is we're just Melee fans, like through and through, regardless of whether we play a lot, whether we play well. We're like Melee fans.
100%. And yeah, Chelly, you were like one of the first people that I started watching streams regularly. I wasn't like that into Twitch, but then I started watching Melee streams, and then I was like, popped up on the Melee streams, and I went to your channel, and I was like, this girl, like, we're gonna be besties.
And
so you're like one of my first good friends in the community, which is like, yeah, so I think we'll have good chemistry.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think the kind of people that we have the memories with, which we'll go into a little bit later on for sure, because we'll have a little memory segment in this, but a lot of our group, I would say Travis, as in Captain Killam, Link2213, like all that kind of group kind of congregated on Twitter when Twitter was starting to kind of like become a fresh, area to kind of communicate with other people in Melee. So definitely I think that was like one of the boosters of that little scene of people who started traveling to tournaments a lot.
So what are the topics we're going to get into today? Let's get into it.
So I guess the sad side of this is that it is March 5th, 2021. We are still in a pandemic. Sadly,
because
people are
still in a Panasonic. Still in a panorama.
I love those memes, dude. They've been fucking killing me. Yes, we're still in a pandemic because people won't stay the fuck home. So we have not had a tournament since Genesis 7?
I think so.
Genesis,
yeah.
basically.
Online tournament, right?
Yeah.
Last January, or like 2 Januaries ago.
Yeah, it's been a long ass time.
That's wild.
It's scary.
And it's just so interesting because, like, obviously, praise be God to Fizzy and Slippy, because like, it doesn't even feel like we haven't had a tournament in that long because we have all these online tournaments, and the essence of Melee is still thriving, and new people are getting to this game every day because of Slippy. And so it's shocking to me that we haven't had a real in-person tournament since last over a year now, because it just doesn't feel like that. What do you think?
I think yes, I agree, because I think the rollback definitely saved Melee in a massive way. Like, I think if I'd have not, because I don't come from a particularly thriving region. Like, originally I'm from Wales, and there was like 6 people there, and I didn't really go there anyway, reasons. And then if I moved up to the northeast and we're in a pandemic, chances are I probably just wouldn't have played Melee. I wouldn't have had anyone to play with, and I probably would have, like, the absence kind of just makes it's so that you don't play anymore. But yes, it's good that they've got the tournaments, and there's so many online tournaments, but I think a lot of people are missing the community aspect of it.
For sure, yeah, for sure. I mean, just like thinking about like preparing for this podcast, I was like watching some previous sets from a tournament we'll be talking about, and it was just really hitting me like, oh my god, I just want to aimlessly walk around a venue again. If I want to quote a tweet from Slog, that one made me laugh. But yeah, there's just like so many nuanced things, I guess, you experience at in-person tournaments that you'll just never be able to get sitting in your room playing Slippy. That I'm definitely trying to feel again.
Yeah, which brings me to, I guess, the first topic of the podcast, which is last year, just before the pandemic hit, the Smash World Tour was announced, and it was super hype. Like, everyone wanted to go. Yeah. I was like planning to go to at least 8 of these bitches, like flying from the UK.
200,000 like prize money.
It was ridiculous. Everyone was hyped.
Wild.
Miss Rona swooped in, cancelled the whole thing.
Enters the stage.
And recently on Twitter they've re-announced another Smash World Tour, which I think people are kind of up in arms about, because it's yes, cool, we have a Smash World Tour and we have a tournament, but also, again, like referring back to the community won't be able to go. We'll be able to watch, sure, but also there's the kind of regulations of are we going to be able to get 16 people in a room? Because the format is something along the lines of qualifying and then turning up at an IRL tournament to then compete.
Right, exactly. So it's fishy. And, even on their website, they talk about the regional finals. And so, do you know, first of all, do you know how people qualify for the regional finals? Because when I look on the website, I thought it just said the panelists, at least for Melee, I think it said the panelists decide that. Are there like a round of events, like Slippy events, that count, that give you points or something to get to the regional finals?
So I think, because there's a slight difference with Ultimate and Melee. I think Ultimate get to have like the online tournament qualifiers, but I think the reason they decided to do Melee panelists to pick it out was because obviously Nintendo's not been the greatest with letting us, leaving us the fuck alone.
We don't talk about her.
No. So I think the reason we can't have like an official online Slippy kind of tournament is because Nintendo shuts it down. So they've decided panelists is the best way to kind of go about that.
That'll be interesting. I think people will definitely have their opinions when the results come out, but we'll see. I trust the panelists. They have them listed on the website, and they are all godsends to Melee. So.
How many are they? Who are they? Speak their
We have Tafo, Gimme Dat Wheat, who I don't know, sorry. Ambus Sinister, KB, Edwin Budding, and Pikachu942.
Okay. That's not
so I definitely recognize most of those names. And these people have been, the ones seeding tournaments for years and years, and it'll be good, I think. I think they'll do a good job.
Yeah, I hope so. And I think I don't know if I feel as much, because I think a lot of people's kind of argument for the Smash World Tour at the very least was at least we have a tournament, at least we're still doing tournaments and stuff like that, but I hate to say it, but I feel like I can't get hyped for it. I feel like I'm just like and then I think the worry that the IRL tournament won't actually happen also because of like COVID regulations, I'm just like, and I don't know if I'm wrong to feel not hyped.
No, I definitely feel that, and I'm definitely in the same boat. Like, what I was saying was, even on their website, they have a little asterisk, and they say, like, note, the regional finals may change, the dates may change based on when events can be safely hosted again. So, I do think it was kind of a, I don't know. I think they should have waited on it, and especially to have it now, like you announced this super hype thing, but then you're like, oh, the dates may change, we don't know, and so it's like, do I get hyped for it yet? Do I wait? Like, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
just kind of, there's kind of a disconnect there.
I don't know if I want my heart to be
But
broken again by the Smash World Tour being cancelled a second time.
right, I can't deal with the heartbreak.
So
But
yeah,
nevertheless, it's an incredibly hype thing that'll be so sickening for the community. And of
Yeah.
course I am excited for it.
I'm excited to watch it. I think I'm just the sadness of not being able to actually go and
Right.
be like,
Yeah.
ow, for like our favorite players and stuff like that.
That would be
Um,
such an interesting tournament experience when like, because it's different from a major because it's like going to a summit invitational kind of, but then there's like a huge like crowd like that gathers just to be a spectator. Um, so like Smash is commonly it's like a spectator esport, but you're also like for most majors like 2,000 people are going to enter and play in the tournaments. So you're kind of taking that like player aspect out of it in a way, and so it would be interesting to see this how the spectator side of it would be revamped and how they would kind of cater to the spectators more.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree with that. And I hope that, because obviously there's a lot of money being funded into the Smash World Tour. I hope it's not just
A
like a
lot
one
of
and
money.
done. Because I would rather, like, if it is a one and done, they should have waited until next year when everyone can go. I'm hoping it's not like a one and done thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, that'd be tragic.
So, thoughts and prayers.
Thoughts and prayers.
So, our second segment, we can go into our second segment. Also to do with tournaments, because we missed them, and also somewhat to do with Smash Twitter, because we kind of want to have a Smash Twitter segment, because that shit writes itself.
We love some Smash Twitter discourse, baby.
It's just a sitcom sometimes. It's just like one of those
Right.
sitcoms you just sit back and watch yourself on fire. And I think it's the gift that keeps on giving, because we've had a lot of things already from the start of 2021 being like, is Leffen charging too much for his coaching sessions?
Oh my god.
You know, should we be having like certain arts at tournaments? And like the discourse is really good. I think the discourse is great, but the recent one
Absolutely.
has not actually been necessarily Melee related, but it's somewhat because of the player that was involved recently. So
It has community-wide implications for sure.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So the recent Smash Twitter was that Ultimate had 2 new characters come in. I don't even know how you say their names. Pyro and
I don't
Milo.
either. Wait, all yesterday they came out, and I just like pronounce them in my head, like, and I'd be like, I'm not pronouncing this correctly. I don't know how to say these names.
Yeah, I don't either. I think I've got Pyro down, but the other one I'm like Mithra.
Is it like
Mira?
Mithra? Who knows?
I don't watch anime. So the discourse was, they came out and there was a lot of people who, find them attractive, and that's cool. I watch Fate Zero, and I've got a small
You just say
crush.
you don't watch anime.
Shh.
You fraud. You're a liar.
I watch so much anime, especially in the pandemic. I've got a little crush on Lancer from Fate Zero. We can all crush on
Oh yeah,
no.
no, he's so cute.
But I don't go on Twitter being like, hey, I want to put my in that
Redacted.
Yeah, don't start making my dolphin noises like left, right, and center. So a prominent Melee player made a video, and it was maybe not received very well due to the content. Now I didn't see it, but I heard.
I didn't see it either. To be fair, he took it down.
Yes.
From my understanding, he made this video and it was very inappropriate, if you ask me. And then he did take it down, which was really good. And I think he uploaded another video about it, and like, it didn't have that like inappropriate content in it.
Yeah, and
which is good.
He wrote
sure.
an apology and all that good stuff too. Like, kind of, it wasn't just like one of those. I don't think it was a very half-assed one. I think it was actually like, it seemed like a very legit apology. Very like, I
Right.
realized what I've done wrong and why this is a problem, etc. So
It was a very intentional apology.
yeah, I would like to say so. However, Twitter came out of all sorts of corners, and there were some people who were like,
Absolutely.
it's just pixels, bro. If I want to jerk off to a bunch of pixels, I will. And then that obviously started the discourse of, okay, should NSFW be allowed at tournaments? SmashCon, for instance, is one of those ones that I most see it at, because SmashCon's obviously a big convention of, all sorts of kind of stuff. And then also the treatment of women and whether or not that transfers from, fake ladies, fictional beings to, how we treat women in the community. I guess your take first would be...
There is a lot to unpack.
Yes.
With this topic. So I like to start by kind of addressing one issue that I think definitely needs to be addressed is when this whole thing happened, a lot of reply guys, we'll call them, a lot of people on Twitter, they point out the fact that, well, when Sephiroth came out, everyone was thirsting over Sephiroth, and so why can't we thirst over Pyra and Mithra, if I'm saying her name right? And I think we need to address that.
Yes.
It kind of everything needs to be contextualized, right? So,
yeah.
Of course, sexualization of men happens just like it happens to sexualization of women. But when you're dealing with things like this, you have to look at the material realities. You have to look at the reality of the situation, obviously. And while sexual assault and sexual violence does happen to men, it happens to women on a much larger scale. And specifically, that's exacerbated in the Smash community because it's a cishet male-dominated community, and so these problems of sexual violence and sexual harassment against women will be kind of exacerbated for that aspect. And so yes, sexualization of men and of Sephiroth might have happened. That's not a good thing, but it's also, I didn't see anything on Sephiroth that was that bad. It wasn't like thumbnails like zoomed in on Sephiroth's crotch or anything.
Yeah.
So that was just kind of an argument in bad faith that I kind of wanted to address. As for not safe for work art at tournaments, is that what you want to get into?
I mean, just the whole discourse. I mean, you kind of bring up a really good point about Sephiroth, actually, that I would also like to put my 2 cents on, is that I made a tweet about it, and I still kind of follow that take, is that I agree with you, any kind of sexual harassment or, just over-the-topness is wrong, regardless whether it's Sephiroth, Pyra, Mithra, whatever. But yes, there was a big difference between being like, oh, I have a crush on Sephiroth. Sephiroth is a daddy. To yeah, I want to
yeah,
do this to Sephiroth in
redacted,
this disgusting manner. Yeah.
Redacted.
And it's the difference between the very few women that I saw tweet about Sephiroth. Because there's not even enough. I feel like there's not even enough women in either scene. If you combine both scenes, Melee and Ultimate, and smash them together, there would not be enough women to make a big discourse about how hot they think Sephiroth is. There was barely anyone. If anyone was making comments about how hot Sephiroth was, it was including the men.
And another point is that you have to see things in a larger picture. So you have to think about when we're talking about discourse, we have to think about the overall environment that you are harboring with your words and that you're creating with your words. So a minority that's women in the Smash community are minorities. So let's say all women were thirsting over Sephiroth anyway, which obviously isn't true, but we'll just say that that the women are the minority. Their comments aren't going to be creating this toxic and unsafe environment for men in the same way that a ton of men sexualizing women will create and harbor an environment that's dangerous for women, and those, because the population, the demographics are so unbalanced, you have to understand that the results of the actions will be unbalanced, and that's kind of just a reality that you have to accept when dealing with these kind of things.
Mm-hmm. And
That makes sense.
Yeah, no, I mean it does, and I think also going into the art thing, kind of like connecting it on, is that what you tend to find at Smash events like SmashCon or multiple events is that maybe I want to buy a sexy Captain Falcon picture poster that doesn't exist. Or, maybe a sexy Moth poster, or maybe a sexy Sephiroth poster, but they don't exist at tournaments, right? It's a lot of, like, super over-sexualized women. Call the tournaments 21 plus. Let's say, we up the age and, we're all old enough to buy, dirty boy art. But, like, that doesn't exist there, and there's a reason that they don't. Like, there's a reason that it's very much like, Samus with her booty out, or... I don't know, Rosalina, etc. But there's nothing of that of like any of the male characters, which I think
so. Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. And so let's take the conversation to, do you think like 18 plus, not safe for work art has a place in tournaments in the artist alley? Because I'm a bit divided. I definitely see both sides. I think I'm leaning towards maybe we shouldn't have it at all, like get rid of it. And I guess I'll go into it. I think it's a matter of consent.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw this like one Twitter thread a while ago. It's kind of, I can draw connections, and it was about pride and like kink and leather groups at pride events, and should that be allowed and stuff like that. Because essentially, there's a lot of people. If you've ever been to a pride, I'm sure you've seen a lot of people in like less than nothing, like wearing not a lot of clothes.
Yeah. And
then you also have like these underage kids there that want to go to explore, become comfortable with their sexualities and whatnot, and gender. And you can't really consent to like seeing those kinds of things, referring to like the leather and stuff like that. You can't really consent to that going into a public space, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I think I draw that connection to this topic. Like, as even, I mean, age doesn't really even matter. You can't really like consent. You're not going to a Smash tournament and like consenting to like seeing like hentai. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I definitely see, and then the problem like exacerbates when we're dealing with underage people.
Mm-hmm.
Like obviously these underage people, like we have people going to tournaments that are like 10, 11, 12. Like they can't consent to seeing like hentai and stuff like that. So I definitely, I think I agree with the case that maybe this kind of stuff does not have a place in tournaments.
Yeah, I think I came up with a potential idea, because I think the age audience is very different in both, because obviously the tournaments that we have are never just melee, never just ultimate, never just anything. They always tend to be mismatched and stuff like that. I think, and again, like you said, it doesn't matter age. Like, some people just don't want to walk in there and just see some boobies up in this up in your face. So some booba. Like, some people do, some people don't, and that's cool. But I think there's a lot of artists, because I'm actually a massive fan of the Artist Alley. I like every single tournament will always go and buy something and find something that I like.
Yeah, support your local artist.
Yes. In fact, most of my stuff behind me I think are from artists. Yeah, there you go. I got some pictures up there. But I think most of them have folders. Like, they're like, oh, well, not all my posters are up, but, you can flick through this and tell me which poster you want. Alternatively, they could just have a NSFW folder that is underneath their desk, and then if someone wants to buy that kind of thing, they can say, hey, do you have an NSFW folder? And they can either say yes or no, but they have to provide, like, a proof of ID to see it.
Right, I think that's genius. Yeah, I never even thought about that.
Yeah. Because then it's still there, and like if lewd artists or nude artists or whatever they do want to still sell that kind of thing, like sure, have your normal stuff up, and then you like, I don't know, put like a little sticky note or a card like, hey, just ask me about my NSFW art, and they can show them with a valid ID, which I think is fair.
Yeah, so there are definitely creative, imaginative solutions like that could work just fine. And I think that's a step that we definitely need to implement moving forward with in-person events when they hopefully come back.
Oh, God. When do you think they'll come
Manifesting.
back?
When do I think they'll come back? I don't know. I mean, definitely not this year. Maybe I would, like, every part of me wishes to say Genesis 8,
That'd be
but
flames.
that's very optimistic. Very optimistic.
Yeah, I think I'm a little bit more optimistic now that the vaccine's starting to roll out in kind of like big numbers.
Right. That's exactly what I was thinking. Because I mean, we're seeing more and more promising things, at least over here in the States, in terms of the vaccine. Like the new Johnson and Johnson vaccine has been approved for distribution, and all of these little things kind of add up to make a real difference in the vaccine rollout. But we'll see what the reality actually ends up being, I guess. I feel like with COVID, you can't make any predictions. Like in the early stages of COVID, like we were all making these predictions and they were all wrong. And then like 6 months later, like in my experience, I was making COVID predictions with like my schooling and stuff like that, and I was completely wrong. And so I'm just done. Like
Yeah.
I'm leaving. I'm not
Every
doing
time
any more COVID predictions.
every time it's like, oh yeah, like, because I remember when March happened and they were like, oh, you know, we're shutting the, because I was working in retail when COVID started happening. Oh, we're just gonna shut for like a month or two. I was like, oh, dude, I fucking hope it's like 6 months. Now I don't.
Oh, Chelly, what have you done?
I did not want to work in retail that badly. But yeah, I wasn't expecting it to last more than like 2 or 3 months. And then, I don't know, just as we started to think, oh, the numbers are going down, we have a vaccine, and then it's like, oh, there's a Brazilian COVID variant, and you're like, oh shit, and then there's like some African variant, and I'm sure that, I don't know, there's probably going to be more variants, but I'm hoping that this like vaccine has got like the balls to take them all on, you know?
Yeah, we'll see. But
So-
exactly, I mean, same here. Like, so back in February, I actually flew and was living in France, doing some research, and then that's about the time COVID started getting bad, and my mom's a nurse, and she was like, John, you gotta watch out for this vaccine. I think you should come home. And I'm like, Mom, it's fine. It's just a it's just a flu. Like,
just
what?
a flu. Mhm.
Yeah, and then it's like March and things are getting really bad, and then France goes on lockdown, and I'm like, oh shit, I gotta go back home. So I go back home, and then I'm like, okay, I'll be home for like a couple months, and I'll go back to France, and then it just gets worse and worse and worse. So I am done making predictions on COVID. I don't know when in-person tournaments will come back. Maybe like March, April, May of like 2022.
Yes.
Maybe a year from now, I guess that would be. And it's something I like to think about is like, how will this, I mean, I don't want to say like collective trauma, but I guess it kind of is collective trauma of like COVID and interacting with people and like, how are all of these interpersonal connections going to be changing? Because like we see all these, for example, we see all these like jokes on Twitter, like, I can't believe I used to like hang out with my friends without wearing masks, or I can't believe I used to like go to these concerts and be around all these people. And yeah, they're like jokes to a point, but I mean, it kind of holds the truth. I think the way people interact with each other and people's comfort being close to other people will definitely be affected from this. And so that will be interesting to see at majors.
Yes.
Do you have any thoughts about that?
Yeah, I think I'll probably never turn down a plan again. You know,
Right.
like people have like nightclubs, and I'm just like, oh, I don't want to come out tonight. I'm too tired, and I don't think I'll ever miss that opportunity again. With majors, definitely. I mean, like personally, my life since March of 2020 to March now is completely different. And I think my relationships with certain people, my friendships with certain people, some of them have broke down due to like, you know, lack of communication, which is no one's fault, but like most of my Smash connections are in America, like with you guys. And it's hard because you've got like time zones, people have to work, you know, and people are trying to like...
got me up at 8 o'clock.
Exactly. Exactly though, like, you know, this is like a normal time for me. It's like 2 p.m. and it's really hard between time zones to kind of be able to check in on all of your friends. And there's so many friends in the Smash community that I want to message and be like, hey, how you doing? Like, and I've tried to kind of do it, but it's fucking difficult. And like with a full-time job and like trying to also keep yourself in a self-care way, like to try and keep your mental health up, it's hard. And I think going to majors now will be much different. I think it's going to be beautiful. I will probably cry. Because it's just, I think it's going to be like a beautiful moment. I really
I just
do.
want to hear that. I just want to walk into a venue and hear the buzz of the CRTs and the clicking of the GameCube controllers. Ah,
Yeah.
what a beautiful moment that will be.
I've never been, you know when you kind of see your friends, like, at an event, and you're kind of like, oh my god, I haven't seen you so... And, like,
Yeah.
I'm not a screamer, I don't think. I'm more of a...
Alright.
But I think when...
I don't know about all that.
I'm not a
If you-
screamer.
If you go watch any VOD with Chelly in the front row, one thing about Chelly, you're gonna hear her screaming at the top of her lungs. So
I have
let me
some
call you out.
imposters,
No, ma'am, you are a screamer. But okay, go ahead.
Weird. Okay, I'm a screamer for the melee, for the game.
For the melee,
okay?
but not like when you see a friend.
When I see a friend, I'm usually like, ah, and then I kind of like hug them and stuff like
Right.
that. But I think when I actually see people, I'm gonna be like, like, just, oh my god, I cannot wait to like hug people and see people and play friendlies and just, I
For
cannot
sure.
wait. Which
And
takes us.
that's absolutely something to hold on to
Yeah.
during these hard times. That is something to hold on to.
The hope. We're every
That is
single
the
day, we are one day closer. Every single day.
Definitely. That's such a beautiful way to put it.
So, which takes us into one of our last segments, and we're gonna call it the memories segment.
The memes.
So we picked a tournament. It's a good tournament for me and Milo because we hung out a lot this tournament, and
It was so much fun. I was looking through my Snapchat memories and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna cry. I miss it.
it's really sad. It's so sad. We took a lot for granted. But we picked Genesis 4. It's not only amazing for melee, it's amazing for personal memory. So we'll probably go into both. So what should we go in for first? Should we go for some melee first or some personal great times?
Let's go into the melee first.
Okay. So best matches for you personally.
So I think there were, like, when I was looking through the bracket for Genesis 4, I could not, like, believe that all of these insane, like, super hype matches all happened at this one tournament. But one definitely stands above the rest. Armada versus S2J. I can't imagine talking about Genesis 4 without mentioning Armada versus S2J. I'm sure everyone listening to the podcast like knows what happens in that set, but for anyone who didn't, hasn't seen that, to set the stage, Armada's like the #1 player, can't be touched. He was Armada ranked #1 or was Hungrybox ranked #1 at this point?
I think it was Armada. I think this was like the last year that Armada was ranked
yeah.
#1.
So nobody can touch Armada. You know, I mean that's what he's known for. He would never lose to anyone outside the gods, and he's just this impenetrable wall, and you can't get through. And you know what's interesting to point out? Around this time, I was saying that if anyone would upset Armada, it would be a Falcon player, just because I'm a little biased as a Peach main, but the Peach versus Falcon, Peach can definitely be exploited super hard in that matchup, specifically by Falcon. And I just think the things that Falcon can do in that matchup result in a likelihood of upset, I guess, if that makes sense. Like the probability of making an upset as Falcon against Peach is like higher than other matchups, I would say. But anyway, so we're in, I think it was it like winners quarters? Maybe, don't quote me on that, but somewhere in the winners bracket, I think it was winners quarters. We have Armada versus S2J, and they start on Dreamland. I don't know all the games, but I know they started on Dreamland, and it was like last stock, last hit, and S2J gets the knee and wins. And like at this point, I was playing friendlies. I remember that, and like everyone's kind of like looking around, like, oh my god, holy shit, S2J just like took game 1. And then I think they go to FD, and S2J wins again. So now we have this player Armada who's never he doesn't lose to people like outside the gods. That's just not a reality that exists. And we have S2J, who's like a huge fan favorite. I'm a Falcon hater, and I love watching S2J. Like, you can't watch S2J and not love it. So we have a heavy fan favorite about to make the like biggest upset of like in recent history, I would say, in recent melee history. And he's up 2-0 on Armada, and at this point, like everyone like playing friendlies has stopped and is just watching like S2J. And
I can attest to that. That shit was nuts. It
was wild. The atmosphere was so intense. You know what I mean? It was just, and just a side note, I like I can't even imagine to like experience how that would feel in the seats of like Armada and S2J. Like you're Armada, I'm sure you can feel everybody in this venue. There's thousands of people in this venue are like holding their breath, waiting for you to lose. Like how can that? You know what I mean? How can that like? It just speaks to the mental fortitude of these top players. But anyway, then they go back to Dreamland for Game 3. S2J is up 2-0, and it's last stock, and S2J, I think he gets a back air, and then he tries to follow up with a knee, but he goes over Armada, and now he's off stage, and then he tries to recover, and Armada edge guards and kills him. S2J has really bad DI, and then Armada reverse 3-0s S2J.
Which was wild too, by the way.
It was,
because literally
absolutely.
He had it.
I say that like it was a bad thing, but obviously Armada is. I think Armada's the GOAT. We don't have to talk about that. That'll be a future discussion.
Yes, we can do that.
Yeah, that was incredibly impressive by Armada, of course, for obvious reasons. But yeah, it was just that Game 3, like, it's just a beautiful thing that like everybody in the venue, and I'm not exaggerating, everybody in the venue had stopped their friendlies, had stopped what they're doing, and they're all just watching this set on the projector, holding their breath.
So I remember Smash Sisters was happening at the same time, because I remember this too. I remember this very fucking well.
Exactly.
And Johnny at the time was like maybe my like top 2 favorite people to watch of all time. So yeah, again, fan favorite, everyone loves him. And Smash Sisters stopped. Dead ass. Like, they were like, we need to see this. And I remember standing on a chair because everyone in front of because the way the venue worked was the stage was at the front, then you had the crowd, then Smash Sisters was like somewhere towards the back, and then you had like all the artist alley and everything behind you. And I had to stand on a chair. Now, I'm a 5'8" woman who can usually see from the back of shit. But everyone was like just stood
She's a tall, powerful woman.
I'm an Amazonian goddess, bitch. And I remember having to stand on the chair by Smash Sisters, and even Smash Sisters had stopped, and we all stood up as well to, like, see. And you could, like you said, you could have cut the whole atmosphere with a knife. Like, every single person stopped. And I've never known another match, actually, in recent Melee history to ever do that.
Right.
Ever.
It's just, it demanded attention from everybody. That's the best way to put it. It was...
He had it, too. He fucked up so bad.
It was so good. I know. And I wonder, like, it's fun to think about what could have happened, you know what I mean? Like, how would that have changed Armada's, like, remaining career in Melee? How would that have changed S2J's career in Melee? If that, like, it's fun to think about those things, but...
Yeah.
In another universe.
That'd have been so good. S2J, so number 1 player.
Do you want to go into one and then we'll, like, alternate, or...
Yeah, no, I can go into one. So one of my favorite matches. Now this sounds obvious. This sounds like a clear pick. Bit of a basic bitch pick, but whatever.
That's fine. There's absolutely a place for basic bitch pickers. we pick. I love that.
I am going to pick. It was the. Okay, let me set the scene. Genesis 4. I don't even know how to start this. Okay, for anyone who knows me, I am a big manga fan. Absolute die-hard manga nation till I die. However, at Genesis 4, I was the European. I was rooting for every single European who was there. So Armada was there, Android was there, Leffen was there. I was like, let's fucking go Europe. I remember being in the
there. Like
Ice
Adam
was
Duffy
there.
Was there. Zaghetto, 64 bracket, and like there were a lot of European people. Just we love to see that.
They came out. They hella came out. So yeah, I was a diehard like European fan. So there is a set, and I believe it's losers quarters, which was Leffen versus Mango, and it was the very stock. I remember becoming a Mango fan. It was the stock. It was this one particular stock, a match on Pokemon Stadium, and so Leffen is 2-1 up, I believe, on Mango, and Mango manages to like take the stock back, and it's definitely starting to become a comeback. And Leffen does this thing where like, so he runs up, and he after getting a shit ton of so much damage on Mango, and then in whatever way of the words, Mango ends up on the right hand side of Pokemon Stadium, and Leffen runs over and he up smashes, and if it had hit, it'd have been done, like game over for Mango. But Mango did like this up B in place, so that he like missed do laser. No, what was he did? He did something, but he ended up getting a forward smash.
Yeah, he gets a forward smash.
And just takes the game, like the most dumb fucking.
Right, like okay. So at this point, Leffen was up 2-1 in the set, I believe. So I rewatched the set yesterday, and the only thing I could think of when I was how the fuck did Mango win this set? Like I had the thought like at least 5 times. So I know Mango won game 1, and then Leffen counterpicked to FD, and that's where Leffen got this like a ton of momentum. Mango kind of went up in FD actually, but then Leffen just came back and like I think like maybe 0 death in like twice in a row or something. Stadium, and Leffen wins again, and it was pretty decisive. I think it was Stadium, and then Mango went back to Stadium, I think, and Leffen's up like I think 3 stocks to 1. I think it was 3 stocks to 1. Maybe it was 2 stocks like 0% or something, but
yeah, I think that sounds right. The second,
2 stocks 0%, yeah, and Leffen, like you said. Remembering right, did Mango really win that?
Yeah, no, it was such a scrap. And I just remember, like, I remember seeing it because I was like, Leffen's got this.
Right.
And I believe I was sat with like Chillin and Siren and Wens and you. I believe
yeah, I was
actually.
There. Yeah, I was there.
And I remember just being like, oh, this is Leffen's game. And I remember seeing the most underdog bullshit come from Mango, and I was just like.
And then the real gag is that like he does the exact same thing in game 5. So they go to Dreamland, and Leffen's up like I think 3 stocks to 1. I maybe it was 2 stocks again, but I think it was 3 stocks to 1. And I'm just like, how did the hell did Mango win this? Who knows? I mean, I don't even know what that really means, but yeah, I mean. What a wild set.
I love that set.
I mean, maybe it was plot armor, maybe it was the script, who knows, but...
I always like to blame the script, honestly.
Makes for amazingly hype melee that reinvigorates the crowd. And I was just losing my mind, as was everybody. And it's just wild, like, we have all thousands of people in this, like, huge arena, and we just see, like, one of the hypest comebacks ever. Oh, it was so sick. You just had to be there.
You had to be there, guys. Don't even listen to this podcast, okay? You could never.
Okay, so actually, the one right before that, I wanted to talk about Leffen versus Axe.
Oh, which is, like, shit, I forgot about this.
Yeah, so maybe not a set like super prominent or like people don't know how to think about it, but so Leffen played Axe, I guess it was in the set before, I don't know. But the reason this stuck out to me is because this is like the hardest I've ever seen a Fox beat Axe up. And at this time, Leffen, was on his come up. Leffen had beaten all the gods like semi-recently, and within like there would be moments in tournaments when like Leffen would be playing super on point, and that's my favorite melee to watch, I'll be honest. Like I'm a Peach main, but my favorite melee to watch is when Leffen is like executing perfectly and he just looks completely untouchable. You know what I mean? Like, and I think there was a lot of people, I mean, I certainly had Leffen would be like the one true god soon. I thought it would happen like a couple of years. Like no one would be able to touch Leffen.
He was on this massive incline at the time.
Right. And like he just has this. His play just has this like atmosphere around it. I don't know, when he's like on point with everything, it's like nobody can touch this dude, and that's like really beautiful for me to see. It's like game 1. I mean, Axe is a phenomenal player, like absolutely amazing, and you don't see any spacey mains like beat up Axe the way Leffen did this set. It was just wild. Like game 1 was Battlefield, I think, and Leffen 3 stocks him, and Leffen starts taunting. I don't know if he taunted in the first game, but it was just wild. And then that was the last stock game, but Leffen still wins, and then he taunts. And then game 3, we go to FD. And so for anyone not watching, Pikachu acts as the Pikachu player, and Pikachu is a really good chain grab. It's really easy, like 0 to death on spacies on FD. And so we think of FD as like this auto win stage for Axe. Like we don't. It was the set where like we all say Fox beats Pikachu, like Fox destroys Pikachu, but like when you watch Axe 4 stock all these Foxes in a row, like you don't think that's really true. But then like when I was watching this set, Leffen just had answers to everything Axe was trying. It was mesmerizing to watch how good Leffen was, and like that like anywhere else from a Fox lane. And at that point, I just had this feeling. I was like, oh my god, Leffen is gonna be like, he's winning his tournament. Leffen's gonna be like the best in the world, and who knows what would have happened without, who would have knows what happened, but I don't have that same opinion right now. We'll see what happens moving forward. Thankfully for the spirit of Melee, we got new heroes such as Zane. To count that Zane's rise to the top definitely influenced that. But definitely at that time, at that set, I was 100% sure Leffen was going to be like the best player like forever.
Okay, shall we finish this off with a personal Genesis 4 memory? I don't know if you have one in particular. I have some really funny memories from Genesis.
I think 4. I have one memory I can go into.
Go for it.
Okay, well, it actually, you were there. We were in a hotel room. I know you were there.
This might be the same memory.
Yeah, Ko was there. Like, our little squad was there. It was super fun. We were all drunk, and like, I think we were all just like singing karaoke to like, if you want to be my lover, you gotta be
gotta get with my friend.
I tell you what, yeah. We were all just like jamming out that song, and that's just like the beautiful moment about these events, you know, like we all are just like congregating, getting like drinking and having fun playing this beautiful game, and then we just like make connections on other levels, like with this stupid song that everybody loves, and we all just like stop playing Melee and just jam out to this fucking song, and that was just like a very distinct, amazing memory I have from Genesis 4.
That was a good one. Okay, so it wasn't the same memory, but it's a similar memory for sure. So my memory also involves you. So Genesis 4, me, Milo, and two of our friends, Link2213, also known as Eric, and Captain Killam, also known as Travis, we were all staying in a room, and that was maybe the best room I've ever stayed in. And yes. I want to say it was like, maybe it was like day 0 or day 1. I think it was day 0. And
food.
Sort of, yeah. Kind of. So I remember we started deciding, fuck it, we'll have a party. And, you know, we started to get some drink, and we started getting drunk. I remember Ricky Ortiz walked in.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah. I didn't know who she was.
I swear I didn't either.
And I remember Eric and Travis being like, oh my god, it's Ricky Ortiz. And I was like, who the fuck is it? And they were like trying to get her a drink and stuff, and I was like, should I
like be on my knees like bowing down? What am I doing wrong?
The way Travis and Eric and they were like, wait, you don't know? You like even finding this and this, and I was like, oh shit, okay. So I mean, I got her a drink and stuff like that, and then two really fun ends of the night stuff I remember is I remember getting so drunk that I ended up crying in the bath for reasons. To which you were consoling.
Oh my god, you just like unlocked a whole set of memories I completely forgot about. I remember that. And like me and Kathy were like in there like, right? Holy shit, I forgot about that.
And I was just drunk, but I was just like crying in the bath with like my leg like up against the wall. And then...
Well, you know what? We need that. That's what you needed in that moment. You needed to get that all out, and you did. That was perfect for you.
And then we finished the night by, I believe, Joey, because while Kathy was in the bathroom with us, I believe Joey went to go and get us some Mexican food, and we finished the night off. I was still wasted. And you and I were staying in the same bed, and then Eric and Travis were staying in the same bed.
I have a video of like of that, like all my Snapchat memories. We're just like gooning around in the bed, and like Kathy's there and saying something, and we're just like dying. I don't even know what Kathy was saying, but we're just like dying and laughing for no reason.
Because I think the reason we were dying of laughing was because we got a burrito, and I was like, oh my god, you want to share? And I just ripped it in half while we were in bed, and rice just went fucking all over the place.
Yeah, I think that was it. Oh my god.
And I made a huge mess. And that was like maybe one of the most fun nights I've ever had. Like crying in the bathtub to splitting a burrito and getting rice all over the bed was maybe peak Genesis 4.
She has range. She said, oh, we're talking about range? Cry in a bathtub and then eat a burrito in bed and then talk to me.
Leo DiCaprio who?
I miss Kathy so much. Kathy, if you ever watch this, shout out. I love you and I miss you.
We'll tag her in it. We'll tell her to watch the whole thing.
Yes.
So that brings us to the end of the podcast that has no name. If you want to give us a fucking name.
The podcast that has no name. Oh my god, profound.
But we'll be back probably next month. We'll keep an eye on Smash Twitter, make sure the drama is reported on. We will make sure
I'm always on that
date.
Smash drama, girl. I got that on log.
And then we'll probably pick a tournament as well to have a gander at. There's always news, so see us in a month if you want to catch up on some news, some memories, some fun times. We'll be discussing the hot topics, okay? And
we're gonna give you everything you never knew you needed about the Smash community, the inside details.
We have so much gossip. We have undeniable amounts of gossip. We've been around 5 years and we know everyone, bruh.
We have to get really clickbaity titles for these. Chelly crying in the bathtub. What? Who did it? Find out now.
Who did it? Why is that so funny? Fucking hell. Okay, so okay, we're done. We're done. I've been Chelly. Thank you for watching our podcast. If you'd like to sign us off.
I've been Milo. Thank you so much for watching our podcast, and I hope to see you all next time.
Peace.